So this week I headed out to a really cool little clear water, marshy, spring-fed area to chase some mirror carp. Use my 6 weight and the 9 foot, standard 12 feet plus 4 feet of fluoro. And then the carp maul and the semi-seal leech were the two best. Early with the carp maul and then switched to the semi-seal leech. I started spooking them with it. So this is a real stealthy area. You kind of sneak in along the edges. If you can be quiet, you don't spook them. Sneak in and then take a shot right here at this one. This is a short shot. The bushes are quite a bit higher in front of me here than you can actually see in the shot. But you really use that for cover. You got to be really quiet here. These are really spooky. The water is crystal clear, so they can see you from a long ways away. Yeah, that one just absolutely explodes. Spends a couple seconds out of the water to start off the fight here. But yeah, sneak in on them. And then, this is all a good drag and drop area. These carp are pretty aggressive, and with the crystal clear water, they do chase flies a little bit further than they do in areas where it's pretty muddy. And I really think that's just a function of the visibility. They can see the fly much further away, so they will chase it down. And that's about what most of them were, 5 to 7 pounds. Some of them will push up around 10 pounds, but nothing really big, but a lot of really solid fish. You can see again here, this is right next to the edge here. They feed, and you can kind of see from the left coming to the right where the clouds are. You can actually spot them by finding those clouds. You also notice how it's already starting to dissipate. This is fairly sandy soil in this area, so the water settles out quickly, which makes it so that it stays fairly clear, even though there are some carp in here feeding and churning up the bottom. This one's cool. You can see the fly come in. It's going to come right past him right there, and he sneaks forward and gets it. And I had to actually tilt my head to the side to actually see the fly there. But I mean, you can see how close it is from the bank. It was a pretty cool close shot. And then, these carp usually give you one pretty good run, and then they're strong, and they take a while to reel it all back in. And then finally get him into the bank here. I didn't bring my net, so I was trying to kind of bring everything right up to the shore and land it. Made for not getting a lot of pictures because as I was trying to do it, I ended up busting a couple off or they pop off. But should have brought my net. So you can see here again, I actually just spooked a fish sneaking up. I saw their cloud that you can see there. And then I spotted these two cruising along the far end of the channel over here. And the front one, these guys aren't really like moving like feeders, but they're not spooked. They're not moving super fast. And I think right there, you could actually see that front one move a little funky. I think I spooked it just a little bit right there, but the back one sees the fly come down and eats it before the front one really takes off. Or, some people say that the carp will actually release a pheromone, so if one gets scared, it scares the others off. I don't know if that's true. Carp are really sensitive to vibrations. They have a very, very sensitive lateral line. And so if you spook one carp in, let's say like a 100 feet by 100 foot area, maybe a square, there's a pretty good chance that everything in that square, all the carp, are going to spook too, just because they'll pick up on those vibrations. There may be a pheromone thing. People have said that. I don't know that I buy it. But the reality is if you spook a carp in an area like that, a lot of times you're done and you got to move on to another area. All right, so this is a classic kind of Taylor. He's coming right at me. These are kind of the best shots that you want. Fish is coming right at me. Do the drag and drop here. But right there he turns, and yeah, you'll see it come in right here. And he kind of just refuses it there. So it's a good shot, but I did something there, and he didn't eat. Wind is howling right here, left to right. So it's kind of a funky cast, but I got another Taylor right here. I'm kind of casting way out to the left of him and letting the wind bring the fly out and over the top of him, and then trying to drag it over and drop it in that area. Again, fortunately, because this is such a clear area, she did come off the bottom here and chase it down just a little bit to pick up the fly right there. And honestly, I couldn't see it to begin with, so I was kind of just kind of stripping a little bit until I felt the tension. So was kind of funny. She kind of stopped there just with it in her mouth. I'm not sure why, but I wasn't sure she had it. And then I felt the tension, and then the fight was on. This is a bigger, older carp in this area. Because this is all so shallow, some of the bigger ones here, and it kind of puts an upper limit on the size that they can grow out here. There's really not any deep water. There's a few areas that probably get down into like the 5 or 6 foot range. That's about as deep as it gets. They get a lot of sun, and you'll actually see sometimes, especially at the end of the summer, where some of the bigger carp will actually their backs will be really burnt. And I don't think they survive once they get that way. So 10 pounds is usually about as big as they get here. I have caught some up around 15 here, but that's pretty rare. 10 pounders about as big as they get. And I think it's because they get so much sun that eventually, it kills them. So kind of a cool one here. I didn't see it because it was coming right along the bridge there, and then pops out, and I made a quick cast to it. Again, the wind's howling left or right here, so I'm casting way out to the left and then letting the wind kind of pull the fly over and drop it down into position here. This one goes on a pretty good run, probably 70 feet before it stops, and then I kind of fight it back through all the weed beds to bring it back in again. And this is another probably 7 or 8 pound mirror, a good mirror for this area. And all these fish are really pretty. The sun makes them very bright. The color is amazing on these fish. The unfortunate part is just like with human beings, right? We get too much sun, even though it looks great. For those that can do it, I'm not one. It eventually can cause some serious problems, and that's what happens with these carp. Another kind of cool, just classic drag and drop here. Waited for it to come off of the weed beds to get into a more open area so that I could do a little drag and drop here, put it right over the top of him. You'll see it come in. There it is on the back side of him. Pull it over. Saw my rod tip move to the left a little bit. And that's how you can kind of redirect on the drag and drop, right? It's not straight back towards you. Again, there's a little bit of wind pulling it left or right, so you got to use your rod tip to subtly control it into the right position, which is what I did there. Dropped it in really close to him. He moves forward just a little bit there to eat it, and then we're on. This guy actually goes and dives down into these bushes right here and ends up busting me off, which happens when they get into these really thick bushes like this, or the weeds in the bushes like this. I'm using 10-pound fluoro, and they can bust that so easy, really. So if you can't keep them out of it, you're going to bust it a lot. But beautiful place, a lot of fun, crystal clear. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll have some more stuff coming out soon. Thanks.